You could have been forgiven for wondering if the Toshiba Computers Irish Tarmac Rally Championship would ever come out of its winter hibernation in the new millennium. But the wait was to prove that Ireland's international series would be better late than never. As nature slumbered in the tranquil beauty of the Kingdom of Kerry, the technology race in Irish rallying has been moving on at quite a pace. And the big three manufacturers are rolling out an impressive array of new machinery into the year 2000. The Killarney and District Motor Club's top 20 on the Ordnance Survey of Ireland Rally of the Lakes is staggering.
Toyota's #1 seed is in fact the old Celica belonging to the reigning champion Ian Greer. It embarrassed the world rally cars in the old millennium, but has time now overtaken the Hillsborough drivers, Toronto to Paul entry. 5 times champion Austin McHale, however, has the latest from TT, and his Corolla is now the only right-hand drive WRC example in existence. There's a similar situation in the Ford camp, where Frank Maher's Escort heads the Malcolm Wilson-run Focus World Rally cars of Eamon Boland and Stephen Finlay, the latter returning to the hard stuff after a 4-year layoff. Subaru are determined to return to the top of the Irish tarmac stages. Stephen Murphy has the ex-Fisher car. James Cullen, one of Kenny McKinstry's hire fleet. And Derek McGarity, one of 2 two-door World Rally Car Imprezas in the Killarney entry. Favourite, however, amongst the 5-star men has to be Andrew Nesbitt's Portuguese spec Impreza.
The 1999 winner leaves the Gleneagle Hotel for the traditional Molls Gap opening stage. And as so often in the past, tyre choice for this daunting opener is a driver's nightmare. 300 feet up on the McGillicuddy Reeks, the sun is shining, but down on the shores of Lough Lean, it's raining. The first fast miles on the shiny tarmac will have to be covered on slick tyres. It's an uncomfortable compromise. On board the Toronto to Paul Toyota, the wipers are flapping, but by the approach to Galway's Bridge, they've been turned off.
Square right, hairpin left.
Slicks have been the right choice, and as Dean Beckett calls the pace notes, the Toshiba champion settles into a new season in his usual cool style. We're approaching the gap now, and this is really hard work, but Ian's opening run is disappointing, and the best that he can post is the 8th fastest time.
Pump B. Quick left, 30, turn square left. Fast left, square left. And
the ex-Hollowitz Cuisine de France car looks highly impressive on the Molls Gap start line, and Andrew Nesbitt's times will prove that in this case, looks do not deceive. Nesbitt and James O'Brien are immediately at home in their new car, and they complete the test in 10 minutes 13 seconds. There are no records today because of that damp start, but Andrew is 2 seconds faster than his nearest rival. That rival was expected to be Austin McHale, but the Dubliner has had a late-night, last-minute drama with the Aircom-net Corolla, and at 5 Mile Bridge, things look very busy inside the Toyota.
Absolute left and slippy of wet, slight left at the wall, maybe 100. Quick right, cut second half, and slippy on exit, 120. Slight left, cut 170.
We're now approaching Galway's Bridge. The road is drying as we climb to Ladies' View, but Brian Murphy has no time for sightseeing as he calls out the vital instructions to his experienced driver.
And slight right and left. And quick right, 70. Quick right cut. And quick left. And slight left at the sign, cut 130. Easy left tightens, repeat easy left tightens.
For Austin, they must just be reminders at this stage, as he'd be very familiar with all the twists and jumps on this most famous of all the Irish stages.
150. Cross the
At the gap, that flashing alternator light must be a distraction for the Dubliner. That fourth fastest time is not the beginning that this great driver would have hoped for.
170. Right entry, turn easy left, cut second. Slight right over crest, slippy of wet, and left, and easy right at the bottom. And quick right tightens, second half, cut.
Frank Marr, one of the stars of the 1999 event, also gets off to a mediocre start, and he has to settle for 6th fastest. But here's the real teaser. Can Stephen Finlay still fly after a 4-year absence from the tarmac stages? The answer comes as swiftly as the stage times. The Ford driver is fully focused. 3rd fastest on stage 1. The drivers' centres are backing James Cullen's tarmac attack, and he's 2nd quickest through the gap. Stephen Murphy, the West Cork Rally winner, is just 1 second slower than James. Derek McGarrity will have a big scare on the climb, and the blue car certainly looks a bit tail happy. Eamon Boland hopes to shatter the stage times with his new Focus. It's certainly shattering a few eardrums. Eamon, on a no problems run, posts 5th fastest time. But Liam McCarthy will sadly have a very short rally, as the Murphy construction car doesn't make it to the top of the mountain. And what's more, he causes mayhem behind him. Bob Foden is closing in, and in his impatience to pass the Toyota, the Welshman incurs not 1, 2, but 3 punctures. Hugh Martin Doherty has changed from Subaru to Ford, but he's also gone through that McCarthy quarry. Frank O'Mahony seems to have escaped, but there's smoke coming from the right rear. While Pete Doughty is in a hell of a flap. There's flying rubber everywhere as Johnny Sullivan takes Andy Blair in the gap. The Mullaghan-ish, Caherbarna and Gortnagan stages complete the first loop, and the Pirelli-shod Subaru continues to romp ahead. Andrews 7 seconds up after 2, 19 out in front by here on stage 3, but he's not getting carried away by his performance.
So you've got a nice little cushion now, you're just going to watch that gap.
Well, that's not really a cushion. All it takes now is a puncture. This rally is only starting. There's 5 or 6 men out there I'm sure want a challenge for the lead yet.
Second is equally sensational, considering how rusty Stephen Finlay should be in a rally car.
We're just still learning the car, and you know we're not going mad, but no, we're just keeping in there.
James Cullen is third, despite some considerable engine anxieties.
A little bit worrying at the moment. We had a problem in the last 2 with the car stopping and cutting out and missing and things like that, which cost us a bit of time, like, you know. So, but the problem is we don't know what it is.
James's problems are insignificant compared to McHale's. Stage 2, and a tricky little right catches out the Toyota man. There's not much room for error here, but there's no damage done. Or is there? Everything seems all right further down the stage, but on stage 3, the gearbox is giving trouble.
And slight left. 70, slight left again and right. 250. And slight left cut. And slight left again. 100. But wrong with this? 6th gear, is it? No. 5th. Slight right over crest here. 130. Oh.
At the end of the Catarbanna stage, it's all over for the Aircom net car, and McGarrity catches the ailing Corolla. Frank's got the handling more to his liking now. The Tipperary man's 4th, just 10 seconds down on Cullen. Eamon, like Stephen, has been having problems getting the focus off the start lines. He's in 6th. And Ian Greer has gone from 1st at this stage to 7th in 1 year. Maybe his wallet needs to be a bit thicker. Stephen Murphy in the Profast Subaru sets fastest time on Gortnagan, proving to be just what it says on the tin, professionally fast. But who's this man? Hugh Dunn in 9th place. Donny and Tim O'Sullivan are another sensation. But Pete Doughty causes a sensation of a different nature, as Anthony Kavanagh's pictures show. The English driver does get out of the stage behind Wesley Patterson's Sierra, and both are being pressurised by the Group N leader.
We're having a good morning, Plum. This Group N Subaru we have, it's a good car, and we're just getting to grips with it now, you know.
How do you think you're doing?
I think we're leading Group N okay, and we're lying 13th overall, I think, or something like that. So, more than happy.
The march of time is graphically illustrated here on stage 5 as Andrew Nesbitt hones in on Ian Greer. And after 7 stages, the Cuisine de France car is half a minute ahead of Finlay. For the final 2 tests of the day, the rally moves west, where the 2 former Tarmac Kings are spectators.
There's nothing else to do anyway.
As Austin samples the black stuff, Bertie has dropped in to catch up on his son Mark's progress. Andrew whistles along the shores of Lough Cara to build a 44-second gap between him and the Ford by the end of the first day. Just watch this for commitment. Stephen looks as if he's still on the loose, and he is at times. Cullen's engine worries seem to be overcome. But Frank Maher and Pat McLaughlin will retire their escort with a blown head gasket by the end of the day. Discretion is the better part of valour when budgets are low. Derek McGarrity and Chris Patterson have moved up to 4th, 15 seconds ahead of Stephen Murphy and Mickey Morrissey. Eileen Greer and Dean Beckett enjoy their Lakeland drive in 6th place.
Okay, right. Watch it.
But we're sadly about to say goodbye to the Hertz Ford Focus when it clips a rock in Cara Lake, not Eamon's luckiest stage. Locals Donny and Tim O'Sullivan are a sensational 7th in their first 4-wheel drive, left-hand drive and supercar experience. And that man, Dan, has slightly overdone it. Johnny O'Sullivan in the Mazda Centre WRC Escort is the 2nd Killarney driver in the top 10. And Mark Fisher and Gordon Noble are way out ahead in Group N. So the Saturday stages have been good for Subaru and ProDrive, with Andrew in a 42-second overnight lead despite his spin on the last stage, and Mark with a comfortable Group N advantage.
Day 2 of the Rally of the Lakes, and it's wet all the way over the gap. Well, that should make for an easier tyre choice, but Andrew gets it wrong. His cut slicks are not dissipating the damp quickly enough, and he'll pay a colossal 13-second penalty for the misjudgment. At Kilmacalogue, he loses a further 4 seconds with a puncture at the end of the stage.
Andrew, you got something to hide there?
No, maybe something.
What was that about?
We had a little bit of a slip on the 2 stages back there. We hit a rock sticking out in the corner, and we're fully committed to the corner. These things happen, took the back wheel off her.
That 42-second advantage has slipped to 25 after the first 2 stages of the day. And at the gap, Stephen is really going for it. But in turn, he too will make a mistake on the Healy Pass, pushing the gap back to 36 seconds. James Cullen and Ellen Morgan can only watch as the WRC cars increase their advantage. But Derek McGarrity will shortly be no longer a threat to the Donegal driver.
Oh, we unfortunately got a puncture about 2 miles ago and carried the puncher on up the hill and come into this left-hander. Didn't think we were going that hard. Obviously, we were aware we had a puncher, but just overstepped it a bit and caught the edge of the road and pulled it in. Light roll into here.
Although the car was relatively undamaged, there's no more fun for Derek and Chris Patterson this weekend. But Stephen Murphy is moving up the leaderboard. After 12 stages, the Carlow driver is in 4th place.
Quick left.
The fog is frightening at the top of Tim Healy. Just look at that drop on the left.
Unseen. 100 downhill, quick left. 80 K left. And a quick right.
But things are all clear in the O'Sullivan Escort. The crew are enjoying an epic battle with those other Group A novices, Hugh Dunn and Greg Shinners. We're about to say farewell to Pete Doughty. Little did we know it at the time, but also to the rally leaders in the most bizarre of circumstances. The car looks fine, the crew are okay, so what happened?
When we come back into service, the car was obviously refueled for the next stage, and the rig itself, it seems as if it has airlocked and didn't put the proper number of litres into the car. As a result, when we got to the stage, we had 17 litres on board and not 27. That was it.
Well, the one consolation is you know you've got the right car and you know you've got the right pace, and you've dropped 1 round of the championship, but there's still 5 to go.
5 to go, and quite rightly the car's fantastic. The new Subaru Impreza is the car for the Irish Tarmac for the moment, and with Pirelli's help we'll do the business later on.
It's a gift for Stephen Finlay and Rory Kennedy, but we have been denied an epic battle between the 2 World Championship teams. Stephen will use the remaining miles to try out further settings, and James Cullen and Ellen Morgan must be more than pleased with their inherited 2nd place. This is the man who's now hitting the headlines. Stephen Murphy is again setting fastest time. He's quickest over Borland. Ian Greer is happier now at the handling, and the 4th place finish is looking on the cards. It'll be a non-finish, however, for Formula 2 champion Oliver O'Donovan, handing the Formula 2 category to the impressive Max McKillen, who finishes 13th overall in a Peugeot 106. Harold Bunting and Willie Hunter had been closest to Mark Fisher in Group N before their frightening accident. Reigning champion Eugene Megan ended up in 4th place in the category in Killarney, with Nigel Hicklin and Jerry McVeigh battling it out for the runner-up spot in the showroom category in their Mitsubishi Evo 5s. The verdict eventually going to McVeigh, who is swapped back into the driver's seat. But the young Fisher has been in a class of his own and uses the event to get him rally ready for his big World Championship outing with Peugeot on the Acropolis. There are 2 more late retirements. Hugh Martin Doherty has to park his WRC Escort while lying 10th, and Andy Blair's exit has been more dramatic.
We've had a pretty bad day all round. Broke a drive shaft 2 stages ago on a big jump and finished up coming into this left-hander, probably 10 miles an hour too quick, caught a bump, back end just stepped out and over she went. I think you've got to say, you're saying we're unlucky, but I think we're pretty lucky. Have you seen down there?
The English visitor has been lucky indeed.
Killarney heroes John O'Sullivan and Sean Moriarty finish in 10th place, overcoming a drive shaft problem along the way. Frank O'Mahony and Hugh Phillips had brake problems on their way to 9th place. Davy Greer and Michael Reid got progressively faster to claim 8th. And Hugh Dunn has arrived on the tarmac scene with a spectacular 6th place in his first international. There'll be a few pints down in the hometown tonight with Donny and Tim O'Sullivan.
All the odds were against us when we started the event. Left-hand drive, four-wheel drive. The thing even has 7 gears. I never drove anything like this before.
The only sad thing now, Donny, is you have to give it back.
I might hide it in him. No, we'll have to give it back, but I think we might take it again sometime. No, we really enjoyed this weekend.
For Ian Greer and Dean Beckett, it's a low-key weekend compared to 12 months ago. But you certainly can't say the champion isn't trying. Molls Gap in reverse direction, the 18th and last stage in the Ordnance Survey Rally of the Lakes, and 4th will bring the Hillsborough pair 8 Toshiba points towards their title defence.
Well done.
Stephen Murphy and Mickey Morrissey are delighted with third.
It's been a good rally for us, I suppose. To stay at or thereabouts all day today and yesterday, so I'm very pleased, very happy. You know, it's probably a dream come true to be even third down the Rally of the Lakes. You know.
James Cullen and Ellen Morgan have done as much as could be expected of them.
It's a long, hard year, like, and we've done well for the first event, and you never know in rallying what happens, like, you know. Pace-wise, it's going to be extremely difficult to live with the pace of the technology and the world cars and that, you know. But it's about human beings, and it's a sport at the end of the day, and hopefully you never know what will happen the time Cork comes around, you know. And as long as we're part of it, we'll be happy.
Stephen Finlay was robbed of the Tarmac title 4 years ago when he crashed out in Cork on the last round. His first Killarney victory must be some consolation.
Stephen, congratulations. 4-year layoff, and here you're back on the winner's run.
Yeah, it feels great to come to, and hopefully we'll have a few more. The stages have been fantastic, and the car has just been brilliant, and the whole team, and you know, everything gelled and felt good from the word go.
Rory, from Subaru to Ford, very successfully.
Very successful, Plum, and we're delighted to come through and win here today. We've had a fantastic drive over the gap this morning, and I think that set the tone for us for today. Unfortunately, Andrew had his problem later in the day, and it sort of took away from the competition end of the rally. But nevertheless, we had a clean set of heels, and we're here, and we're delighted to be winners once again.
Stephen and Rory now have even greater ambitions, and the Irish pair will shortly contest the Acropolis World Championship round.
The shape of Irish international rallying has changed dramatically in the new millennium, with the Toshiba Computers Tarmac series now being eligible purely for homologated cars. The clubmans, or entertainers as they're so often called, still run amongst the international field, but they now have a new national prize of their own to fight for. And boy, can these taillight merchants live up to their name. From the start, Eugene Donnelly and Killarney native Paul Nagle looked like being the men to beat in the national section. Despite complaining of cramps in his hand, the Maharan driver is already in the top 15 by the end of the second stage. And by stage 5, he has claimed an amazing 10th place overall in the BioClear car. The Dadelow Demons, Tony Randalls and Dermot Lynch, were expected to give big opposition to the Big Mac car, but a big blow-up came on stage 3, followed by a big disappointment. Philip Shaw, navigated by Nigel Fraser, was also in trouble in the early stages, as Anthony Kavanagh's pictures show. They lost 4 minutes in stage 1 and a little more time here when catching Sean McCardle's ailing Taranta de Paul at Salika. The money-moored man then starts a brilliant recovery drive in the Glenvale Hotel Mark II. Wesley Patterson and Bob Kelly in the Celtic Utility Sierra shadowed Donnelly for the modified lead after the first straight. with the Ballingarry brothers, Pat and Sean Milan, as always giving a good showing in the Kerry Mountains. Desi Keenan epitomises the spirit of this fun class, and despite all their antics, the Monaghan men are putting up some very respectable times. They are 4th in the category at the end of the Saturday stages. Just behind them come our onboard cameramen, Mike Maloney and John Hogan, in the Lynch's Hotel Mark II Escort.
Open 5 left and 4 right. And 3 right, 60. Caution, narrow bridge into turn square right. 80.
By the gap, their unusual Mazda engine escort has powered them onto the tail of John Strangle's Darien.
Caution, 2 right over crest jump, 60 bump, 5 right. And caution, long 5 right tightens. Opens 4 left, 80. 3 right, 150 up middle. Okay, Mick, relax, relax.
The mist is down in Donnelly as he starts the second day with problems. The exhaust is fractured, and he's also complaining about intercom problems. We're now riding with the modified leader on the Lochaluas stage, stage 13 as it happens. This is a long test on the County Cork border, and the northern driver and his Killarney navigator have a comfortable lead in the BioClear Escort. Stage 13, yes, and if you're suspicious, we're about to give you plenty of ammunition. We're approaching the end of the stage now. The picturesque lake is on the right, and we're about to get a lot closer to it than we would want to. Amazingly, we find that the Escort is still running on stage 14. But as we can see from the replay, it's been a big accident and a very big fright for the Mahara man. Wesley Patterson should have been handed the lead, but ironically the Lisburn driver will also succumb to the curse of stage 13. Where the Sierra suffers no less than 3 punctures and puts him back to 5th place. It's Philip Shaw who benefits most from the modified leader's misfortunes to take 2nd overall. An incredible recovery after being 4 minutes back on stage 1. For the Mullanes, it's the end of another happy weekend in the Kerry Hills and a 3rd place pot to polish. But for pure entertainment, it would be hard to beat Desi Keenan and his fist-waving sidekick. They go sideways round Kerry to 4th place, accompanied by that startled passenger. Our other entertainer, Mick Maloney, in the Car Perfect Escort, does not have a perfect weekend, I'm afraid, as we see when we climb aboard on that notorious stage 13. The first few miles of Lochaluas are tight, very tight, as Mick and John Hogan are about to find out.
Left, it's a square left, don't cut. 130 up middle. Square left. Oh.
Among the modified movers, car number 117, Ken O'Neill, who's been chased by a Mark II, wins Class 9 in the Nova. John Tully and John Dugan are Class 10 winners, and Philip Shaw, after that great recovery drive, take Class 11. Desi Keenan, the entertainer of the weekend, Class 12. And Wesley Patterson recovered to win Class 13. Incidentally, we'll be looking at the update of the class situation at the Toshiba Computers Championship after the Summit 2000 Rally. The Ordnance Survey of Ireland International Rally of the Lakes also hosted the first round of the new Ford Puma Championship. Simon Marr, the English Ford car champion, eventually came out on top after a battle with those former Irish car rivals Derek Daly and Ian Chadwick. Daly may have caught Ian Cameron on the first stage, but he lost time on the second day with punctures.